is leading to 4 special issues and a handbook of Indian public finance, wherein your colleague also is a contributor. And in another way, I can introduce Professor Padmakumaran Nair as the leader of a vice chancellor of one of the pioneering private universities with over 15,000 students, history of 70 years. This university, Thapa University, one of the pioneering private universities in the country, with highly, I would say, rated academic and infrastructure background and global connection. They have got co-chairs from different universities across the world. And he has been in this university, first heading the engineering department, later the School of Management and Social Science. And I think this is the first person for every, person to become a vice chancellor, selected from among the faculty of Thapa University. Otherwise, every vice chancellor from the Thapa University was selected from outside. And a double PhD in metallurgy and chemical engineering. I would like to, with University Twente in Netherlands and Japan, and I would like to really depict him as the proud son of Kerala, a non-resident Keralite. To the extent that I know quite many of the non-resident Keralites, and I had opportunity to work with such people in Delhi, I'm inclined to believe that non-resident Keralites are in fact much more concerned about Kerala than ourselves. We have a complacence, whereas they carefully watch, observe, and consider Kerala in their daily life. And I know that my relatives in the US and all, they see only Asianet and Malayalam channels. It's freely available. So I'm so happy that, sir, you have joined, you have accepted our invitation to speak to us. And your topic is something which is very much relevant today for Kerala, on dreaming a new Kerala. And I don't think that none from within Kerala can dream Kerala, about Kerala, in such effective and passionate manner, like a proud son of, sir, please sit here. Yes. Yeah. This is Professor Pushpangadan. Yeah. So with a lot of affection, a lot of respect, and a lot of thanks, we welcome you to the GIFT community. I think we'll, with a big applause, we would like to welcome you. So now the floor is open to you about the topic. I think we are actually, in GIFT, and the whole Kerala is working towards what should be Kerala by 2031, what should be Kerala by 2037. And at this moment in history of Kerala, your topic, the choice of your topic could not have been better. Over to you.
And I lost my voice. But the good thing about that was, this morning I was talking to someone. He said that, Jeta, your voice now sounds quite like Tilakan. I was very happy, actually. Yeah, it's a compliment, really. I used to love his movies, Tilakan's movies. So a big fan of Tilakan. So I'm very happy. This will pass, but being able to feel that I'm talking like Tilakan is a good one. So thank you once again. I want to start with a few disclaimers or few important points you all should know. And I'm not used to sitting down and talking, but now the mic is set like this. The reason is I get bored quickly. So sitting down and talking, I lose interest quickly. So when you stand up, you cannot. So anyway, so I'll start with few declarations. I hope my voice will stay. So what is it? I'm neither an economist nor capable of being one. Okay, that's a very important one because you guys are, but I'm not. So please don't trouble me asking difficult questions because I understand very little. I understand economics as a behavioral science rather than science of just raw numbers and data. And my thoughts in this area was heavily influenced by the work of Herbert Simon. There is also another reason why this is the case. One of his students, Saraswati, is a very good friend of mine. So we usually meet during conferences, and her work is also quite impactful. That shaped my thinking. Finally, I want to apologize that I'm not that good with spelling, and there could be a lot of spelling mistakes, and apologies in advance. Someone recently asked me a question. The question was, this was a pro vice chancellor from a big famous university in Canada. He asked me, what are your major challenges as the vice chancellor? I rarely thought about it. And when he asked me that question, I quickly came up with an answer, but it was a very honest one. I really don't have any major challenges. But I have thousands of, if not maybe at least hundreds of very small challenges. Insignificant challenges, but they are hundreds. And the problem with these small, insignificant challenges, even though they're small, they're still challenges because if it is so easy to be resolved, that could have done already. That means they are serious ones, but they're very small. I'm not able to convince my bosses, the chancellor of the university or the executive council, because they're so small, nobody will get excited. And I'm not able to convince my colleagues because what is in it for me? Those are little things we don't want to do. But today, I'm going to talk about when you dream of a different kind of Kerala, how do you approach it? Resolving little things so that once everything added up, you will find a huge positive transformation. I don't know how many of you recognize this. You know what is it? Exactly. This is 2017, origin of ChatGPT all started in 2017 and 2018, another working paper came out. I'm so happy that this paper came out. You know the reason? Of course, I use AI and large language models quite a bit, but that's not the reason why I'm happy. Every time I meet a senior corporate leader, a CEO, senior vice president, they all the time tell me, sir, we need to do more to make our engineering graduates corporate ready. These days, they are not telling me that. You know why? Because they themselves don't know what corporate ready is, because they did not know this before 2 years, before ChatGPT appeared. So the idea that we can sit down and predict the world in the next 4 or 5 years has disappeared, and that's a good news. So it brought in a pinch of humility. So this almost changed everything. And when you thought about changes, we always think that, all sorts of changes happening today. And this is so fast that this has never happened like this. That's not true. Last 500 years. Look at starting with the Enlightenment movement and the industrial revolution, electricity, automation, unfortunate wars, penicillin that completely changed life expectancy, and so many things. Now AI, deep learning, Internet of Things, 5G communication. But two important changes that has happened: world population increased from about 0.5 billion to about 8.5 billion, and life expectancy in most countries now from about 50 to almost 80. So that's what has really changed. So I have 4 numbers here: airplane 68 years, internet 7 years, Facebook 3 years, and Gen AI 5 weeks. What is it? We'll save time. Number of years each took to get to 50 million users. Airplanes, it took 68 years. ChatGPT, Gen AI, 5 weeks. That's an interesting change, and also it's quite exciting for all of you. But remember, oh, this one, you see that auto manufacturing factory. This is a picture that I got it from the internet, but I was there. This is a Toyota factory in Japan, near Nagoya. And I visited this factory about 32, 33 years ago, and just before COVID. Then, 32 years ago, people in white coats assembling, and today I saw none of them. And these hands-on bump onto each other, they're managed by smart algorithms. The message is simple: technology is no longer going to be just an enabler. You know, we would really like to feel that technology is an enabler, but it is going to shape the way we think, we do things, we organize our societies, we relate to people, whatnot. It's going to be a shaper. Just for all of you, look at what has been happening with the Industrial Revolution 1, 2, 3, and 4. With the invention of steam engines, most jobs needing power and speed got replaced, right? And you know, the idea of horsepower comes from the fact that when steam engine was developed, mine owners were asking how many horses we can get rid of if we buy your steam engine. So that's how this idea of horsepower came up. Okay, this is 10 horsepower. You can get rid of maybe 20 horses because they work in 2 shifts or something, who knows, or 30 in 3 shifts. So that's how horsepower came up. Steam engines replace most jobs needing power and speed. Electricity, automation combined replace most jobs needing precision and repetition. That all this revolution in high-tech electronics manufacturing. So what is this intelligence revolution doing? It is replacing most jobs needing, please pay attention, abstracting simple rules from large sets of data. So abstracting simple rules from large sets of data is what LLMs are doing. And that got replaced by machines, these machines. And what kinds of jobs are going to be there for all of you? We are ready to retire. So all of you is jobs where you need to abstract simple rules from very small set of data when it is ethically complex and cognitively challenging. So those are the types of future jobs. Abstracting simple rules from small set of data. It is ethically complex and cognitively challenging, but you need to make a decision quickly. So why do we need to dream of a new Kerala? I purposely avoided numbers because you're all sitting on top of numbers, and I'm not an economist, so I don't want to get into that. But we know that as a state, as a region, we do quite well. We are all very proud, sometimes a little bit too proud, so that we take, we declare victory and go home. That is what is happening actually. We are declaring victory because we will always find somebody who is doing worse than us and feel good about ourselves. I think first little thing we need to do is don't declare victory too early and don't go home. Stay put, change, work, do things differently. And can you quickly see if we get about 10% annual growth for the next 25 years, our economy will become at least 11 times larger. If it is 8%, it will be about 6-7% larger. So we need something between 7-8% to 8% to 10%. That is what, there is no one simple solution. But we also need to work on all those enablers to make it happen. So this is really the basic idea. If you just now don't pay attention, still it's okay. This is the key slide. Lessons from the world. There are a lot more. So I picked 4 or 5. Entrepreneurship from the United States, that spirit, that mindset. Cultural nuances and excellence-seeking mindset from Japan. Institutional rigor from Europe. Disciplined execution mindset from China. And spiritual and intellectual humility from the old India. So I want to talk about old India. I'm not talking about old India was a perfect place. I'm not talking about there are no other culture or society we can learn from. There are all sorts of places we can learn from. They can also learn from us. But what is even more important is also to decide what not to learn from them. That's very important. So learning from the US, a mindset of possibility. Of course, America has its own serious limitations. I'm not really talking about it. There is another lecture on what we should not learn from these places. Failure accepted as learning. People can freely fail. Lot of risk capital. My younger son had a little startup in Silicon Valley. He got $500,000 funding, and the company was valued about $20-some million. So quickly in 6 months. It will not happen. So he's based in the UK, in Cambridge, but it would not even happen in Europe. Only in the US that can happen. University industry, startup integration. Yeah, I think there are so many other countries also do that. There is nothing very, very special about it. I taught in the US for more than 10 years. I know that nothing really but there is always a scaling mindset. You look at all those highly valued companies. They're super scalable. Amazon, Google, Facebook, Adobe, they're super scalable. NVIDIA got lucky. I don't know whether NVIDIA is that super scalable, but others are. The paradox of innovation in Indian culture. What is the paradox of innovation here? We talk about innovation and entrepreneurship all the time, but we are unwilling to deviate. Deviation is the mother of innovation. Showing that courage, not deviation, not for your own selfish gains, deviation for doing something good for others, deviation for a larger cause. So if you don't show the courage to deviate, the problem is teachers and parents and politicians and other influencers, everyone would tell you, follow the norms, be respectful, do this, do that. No. You will innovate only if you show the courage to deviate. And if you're not deviating for your selfish gains, I think deviation is beautiful. Entrepreneurship integrated to, I must admit that whether it is Kerala or it is India as a whole, we have NEP 2020. In my view, I'm not getting into the controversies of NEP 2020. It's not my interest, because no controversies have created any real value for anyone other than the people promoting those controversies. But NEP 2020 is, for me, it's a good document. But there's a much more important fundamental question. Imagine NEP 2020 is giving us a lot of flexibilities. Okay. Have you ever thought about how do we explain to the generations of graduates who did not have the flexibility? How do you compensate for those people? Have you ever thought about this? Rather than getting into the controversy, I think young people should be asking those kind of questions. That means 100 years, see, most provisions of NEP 2020, I can confidently tell you, it was there 100 years ago in the US. All this flexibility, credit transfer, this, that, all were there. Okay. How do we compensate for all those graduates in our country? They never had that flexibility, but today we have. So for young people, that little thing, call for action is, if something needs to be done, please do it yesterday. Anyway, Kerala, we need to definitely start working on creating a global angel fund, because there's a lot of people around across the world with a lot of money. And the beautiful thing about being part of such a large nation is that we can decide we are not going to do any agriculture, we'll only do AI, or we'll only do health tech, or this ed tech or climate tech, whatever. But we have that luxury. We can super specialize within our constraints. But if you're an independent country, that is not possible. So that's the beauty of being part of such a diverse, large nation. So learning from cultural nuances of Japan, precision and attention to detail. Here I want to talk about something, especially, of course, harmony, respect. You all know that. We don't see that. You switch on the television. We are just fighting and talking over other people. It doesn't matter which ideology, which political party you belong. Is that civilization? I don't think it is useful at all. It destroys value. I can also tell you, as economists, you can also do a study. People watching these evening, what is it called? These debates, what is it called? Whatever.
The church.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do empirical study on drawing blood from them and checking the cortisol level, and doing it again after this. So cortisol levels will go up. That means what? Your stress levels, blood pressure levels would go up. And as economists at an aggregate level, you can say that these, what is called this Andicharcha, would actually is way more costly than we think, because average healthcare cost, life expectancy going down, no study. I'm not joking. Just think about it. So much to be learned from the idea of harmony and respect from Japan. So back home now at Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, we have a campus quote. Campus quote says that empathy is the mother of excellence. Reason is very simple. If you look at social psychology or cognitive science definition of empathy, empathy has two components: a cognitive one, your ability to understand other person's emotions, and an affective one, your ability to emote with the other person. Imagine what you do every day. Most of us, we do things for others. I prepare a lecture, or I prepared this lecture. Of course, I like it and it's good for me, but it is also for others. Or my sister cooked breakfast for me this morning. Of course, she would also have breakfast, but mostly for others. When you do things for others, and our life is all about learning, creating, and helping, we may not realize it. We go through this cycle of learning, creating, and helping. When you think about others, first thing that would come to your mind is, how would they feel when I do this? Can I do it slightly better than before? Excellence seeking is all about wanting to do it better than before. So that is the idea of Kaizen at the societal level in Japan. So our tagline back home at Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology is seeking excellence together. That's our tagline. There's something really interesting about India is we are extraordinarily good at doing things when criticality is involved. We have probably the best space program in the world, cost effective. Our nuclear safety is extraordinary. But the goal for Kerala and India as a whole is to get to a stage where we will do things extraordinarily well, even when criticality is not involved. For that, this is very important. Starting point is empathy and compassion, and we need to create. So the mindset of wanting to do it better than before. I've graduated a PhD student. She developed this new construct of excellence orientation. So what this mindset of developing, wanting to do it better than before. Applying Japanese lessons, of course, this Kaizen mindset, and it's really about excelling, but also being compassionate at the same time. Can you imagine how would our nation or our state look like? We can have all sorts of debates, but our focus is compassion and intellectual humility. Can you imagine if we go to these debates by thinking winning is not the goal, understanding is the goal? Can you imagine? It would be a totally different place. Economists and other empirical scholars can analyze all sorts of data, but if the underlying philosophy is not about compassion and understanding, but irrespective of what religion we believe in or no religion we believe in, but Indian philosophy is all about wisdom and ignorance. That means knowing more, understanding more. So the intellectual humility and openness is very important. If some of you are interested, I write short posts on LinkedIn. So one of them, how do we know what we know is right? So rather than arguing about it, we start asking clarifying questions. We reframe compassionately. So compassionate reframing could be a very, very useful tool. Another post recently I've written is from authority to authenticity. Now, our culture is hierarchical, and we are quick to use authority rather than reasoning with our colleagues. This is quite Indian and more Indian than most other places. We start by telling, I disagree with you. What if the other person says that I disagree with your disagreement? Then the conversation stops. Rather than talking about I disagree with you or starting with I disagree with you, you could ask a clarifying question. So much to be learned from other cultures, and also going back to our old philosophy. Another point is learning from Europe, institutional rigor. Remember, institutional rigor in the last 70, 80 years in Europe has been very good for Europe. Rule-based governance, independent regulators, transparent compliance, taxation, welfare with productivity balance, high trust public system. We are unfortunately a low trust country. Trust deficit will drastically increase transaction costs. That I don't have to tell this to economists. But I'm not glorifying Europe, because you know that if I look at the last 125 years, probably European conflicts killed more than 20 to 30 million people. In the last 125 years, in the Indian subcontinent, conflicts, whatever estimate you take, it is somewhere between, say, 200,000 to 2 million. Europe is 20 to 30, 35 million. So we have been a peaceful group of people. I'm not glorifying, but European institutional rigor is very important. And you know, 2024 Nobel laureates, these three people, they have written many books. One of those is this, Why Nations Fail. This is a quote from the Nobel, that committee. They have helped us understand differences in prosperity between nations, institutional rigor. And I must tell you that it is not just formal institutions. The Japanese example would also tell us that informal institution, culture is an informal institution, and that is also important. There are a lot of things to be learned from this institutional rigor. This you can keep on, you guys can come up with these items in a second. It's all about rigor and consistency and transparency and ultimately building trust. China is our big neighbor, so much to be learned in the area of executional excellence. They can make it happy. A lot to be learned from that culture too. High performance project management units, sector-driven industrial clusters, performance-driven governance culture, integrated port, road, rail, logistics. People like it or not when we glorify China, but there is also a lot to be learned from China. Learning from old India, spiritual humility. What is most interesting is that data shows that this region was less violent than the West, without question. What the US, I don't know whether this is being recorded, but I'm quite okay with it. The US and other Western players are still playing that old way of dominance and competition and dominance. I think time for India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan to come together and to show the world it is about coexistence, not about the competition. I think we could have difference of opinion in so many different ways, but time to come together and really, it's not about trade, it's about trade of philosophy, that idea of coexistence. I think that's very, very important. Applying Indian wisdom to Kerala, compassionate leadership, pluralistic universities, global leadership in well-being sciences and spiritual tourism ecosystem. I think so much we need to tap. We are not doing it. We are sitting on top of that kind of knowledge. Remember, we talk about India, Kerala, everything, but our education is, even today, is designed around the Western way. The fundamental difference between Western education and Indian education is Western idea of knowing anything is through a strict causal relationship. But for assuming strict causality, we should know science quite well. But you all know that, you all have taken a flight. You know, about 20 years ago, most airplanes, 20, 30 years ago, most airplane wings were straight, right? Today you see a little or a winglet. That means that even a very mature technology like this is still evolving. So that causal approach to anything assumes perfect knowledge and perfect understanding. But Indian approach to knowing is more effectual than causal. Causality is important, but we also understand the limits of causality. So Indians go with a science, practice, philosophy approach. Westerners go with the science and science approach, and especially that got into their culture after the Enlightenment movement. And that helped that society, but it could also lead to competition and war and violence and everything. So a good mix of causal and effectual approach is what in our education what we really need. So this is to summarize. Learn innovation and entrepreneurship from the US, cultural nuances from Japan, institutional trust from Europe, disciplined execution from China, compassion and openness from old India. So Vision 2050, if we can somehow get to 10% growth, we are talking about 10, 11 times larger economy. It is really not about doing one big thing. It is about doing hundreds of very little things. If we just decide that we are going to reframe every interaction compassionately, I can tell you, average life expectancy will go up, healthcare costs will go down. Why unnecessarily fight for anything? And how do you know what you know is right? I think being a true scholar is all about declaring that I'm not sure what I know is right. Thank you.
You heard an engineer speaking with a management background, with a MBA. You heard a leader, education administrator, a person with global exposure, how get manifested in his own thought process. Sir, it was a magnificent lecture. You deserve another round of applause. I am at loss. I must say that the manner in which you have been able to articulate to be a learner, to begin with is to be a learner. To be a learner, the first thing that you should know is that you do not know. And we Keralites, we know. We are model builders. We are Kerala model people. And we declare victory and go home. There is a lot for Kerala to take pride in. So, for example, in South Africa, I was talking about in the African Science Forum, there are 48 countries I was talking about. I was asked to reflect about Kerala's achievement in abolishing extreme poverty. It's a rare, and it is talking to the right people. I said, look how we did it. 64,004 families were emancipated through systematic effort of 4 years, 5 years now. So we have a lot to claim. But having said this, even if you don't like number, you are more of a philosopher, I must say. I mean, I really envy you, I must tell you. If you look Kerala from 1995 onwards, last 30 years, if you divide the last 30 years into 15 years, 2 phases. During the first phase, Kerala has recorded a higher GDP growth rate than the national level. It was always higher than Kerala by and large. As we move from this first 15 years to the second 15 years, Kerala's growth rate became lower than the national level, and national level growth rate also declined from the first phase to second phase. And we are talking about becoming a developed economy by India by emulating Chinese model wherein 9.6% growth rate recorded over a period of 40 years, sustained over a period of 40 years, never ever heard in the history of any economy. And we are also trying to become developed economy, but unfortunately, after we globalized, our competitiveness, after all, post 95 is essentially we are talking about your more open world. With the WTO coming in now the situation, I don't want to get into the new world order where we are in. Everything that we have been able to build up has been. Now, the point I'm trying to say is that we have a long way to go. We have indeed a long way to go. Our Prime Minister says that India grows when states grow. I would love to say that our Chief Minister should say, Kerala grows when Kerala's panchayats grow. And we had a recent election. How many of the candidates are really the competent and people with the perspective and vision and capability have contested? Whether our political system is able to really attract the real brain, real people committed. Who are the candidates? We are all taking backseat. Are we not? I mean, not we mean, I don't mean that. What I'm trying to say is that development has to come from bottom. And we have accomplished a lot in that. So in that context, this global America, what we can take from America, what we can take from Kaizen, continuous improvement. Chinese concept is basically continuous improvement. That means whatever you are talking about the airplane wings. So even after becoming completely automated, they still continue for, I remember I also visited Toyota, that tour. They gave us a tour. And when you went into Suzuki machine, into the top floor, they wanted to reduce 3 steps to 2 steps. A person in the shop floor, he now makes 3 steps. How can you reduce to 2 steps so that productivity increases? So they are always thinking of continuous improvement. Are we doing it? Are we doing it at our institutions? How much are we trying in our institution? Let us not forget about Kerala. Kerala is made of each one of us. Are we thinking about where are we standing? Are we continuous improvement is possible if and only if you are self-critical. If and only if you are knowing that you do not know. Only if you know that you can still, your founder is higher. So the institutions, I think the way in which you have brought in the core elements that you can take from China. China, look, I envy China. I get excited in 2002 when I made first visit to China in Yunnan province of the kind of beggars that came when I came out of a restaurant was enormous. 50, 60 people by seeing an Indian, they came for alms. 2014 when I, 16, 14, when I was, Yunnan was, Kunming was very different. Kunming was very different. So what I'm trying to, they have made enormous changes. So your idea of what to learn and what to pick up from others, that idea, I think we appreciate it. I appreciate a lot. And that can happen if and only if you know that you do not know. If you think that we have won we have become victory and going home. So I don't know what question I can ask you. I would rather ask the reflections from I'm extremely thankful to you for coming over here. And when you are talking about Kerala, I would also take another point. In this country, Kerala and Punjab were the two leading states. Punjab is a state that has really made this country food self-sufficient. And what is the current plight of Kerala? What is the current plight of India? And today we are talking about this country when you are talking about $670 billion foreign exchange. Almost 23% of that is contributed by 2.7% of the population. And we are able to claim external stability in this world because of that, remittances. If you talk to 58 lakhs IT people, almost 14 to 15% are from Kerala. We have contributed a lot to national development. So do Punjab. So I think we need to have a lot more studies between China, between Kerala and Punjab. I think that we are the super performers and both are fiscally, from our language, fiscally, we are very stressed states. And so I think in this context, I think we need to travel. There is a long way for Kerala and Punjab to travel and learn from each other and learn from elsewhere. I think the manner in which you said to learn from elsewhere for both, enormous amount of learning could be possible. And I thank you for that. And I would like to keep the floor open for questions. Professor Pushpangadan, would you like to initiate anything? Pushpangadan is our, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Right, okay. Anil, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for this excellent presentation. And first, I very much thank to our director because he is always ready to open, ready to place new windows and doors for us to hear and learn from other disciplines. Only then, sir, normal practice is we are expertising on a particular discipline and we are claiming that we are a scholar in that discipline. That's really an academic prison we are creating. Instead of creating academic gardens, we are creating academic prisons. But this type of interactive learning process from various disciplines will help us to think and develop more in our discipline too. And then when we are dreaming of a new Kerala, in fact, Kerala, government of Kerala started a dreaming process like Nava Kerala. And some practical concerns are there. Some practical concerns on is how we can ensure when a new Kerala with 10% of the annual growth rate, how we can ensure the interest of the less developed people, sections of the society first. So, intersectionality questions are there, inclusive development questions are, because development and growth should not be measured in terms of GDP. Instead of human development is also involved. That part also, this concept is already embedded in this presentation, but the setting the context, then these are the basic challenges Kerala facing. In order to overcome these challenges, this type of a new vision is required. Okay. And second is your global angel fund. That is exactly we need, because this is the basic idea is pay back to society. So people, those who are benefiting from the service of the state and other people, they have to pay, give back to the society. And another point is, when we are taking the global examples, my humble request is one more example is needed, I think. Example from the Israel. When resources persons are performing better through business. So this example can also be included in this process.
City has collaboration with this.
Yeah, we have two professors jointly appointed by Tel Aviv University and our university.
Yes, sir.
And I
Because-
myself have visited Israel 7-8 times.
In Kerala, okay, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
In Kerala and India too, many resources persons are there. How resources persons, they can, the another domain is trade. How these people are well off in trade, that can be also incorporated in our thinking process too, sir. This is a very good and very eye-opening lessons that you have. We are very much, since I extend my sincere gratitude to you, sir. Thanks.
As economists, we might even like to see where do we stand with respect to each of the attributes of example. First, it was entrepreneurship and the American values. Where do we stand with respect to institutions, with respect to obedience and compassion, with respect to Chinese ASEAN? But that is a very interesting idea.
You know, with all these, I'm sorry for my voice. With all these countries, take the example of Israel. So Israel is not a well understood country, especially in Kerala. It is not a well understood country, whatever political reasons it is. Once you go to Israel, about 30% of Israelis are Muslims. Maybe very small percentage is Christians and the rest Jews. It's not a all Jewish country. And it is the most free country in the Middle East. And if you go there without thinking that this is Israel, because some people don't like Israel, but imagine you are there, you're thinking you're going somewhere else, I can guarantee you that you love that place. Okay, but now take Israel, take any other successful nation. One thing is, it also used to be true for America, that is less true now. But one important point is common to all these societies. At some stage or some point in time, they all feel that they're one large team. That unfortunately we don't feel. We're always divided. So we can have different political ideology, religious orientation, everything. But as a human cluster, we need to start feeling we are one large team. So that's very, very important, because it is our tribal instinct that we sometimes get excited about these divisions. Okay, because you know that in the last maybe 5-10 years, more and more people are talking about empathy. You hear that all the time. They even talk about we need more empathy. But actually, empathy got into the lives in the evolutionary past about 250 million years ago. What happened about 250 million years ago? We started seeing reptiles evolving into mammals. Reptiles can lay about hundreds of eggs and crawl away. Some babies will survive because hundreds of eggs, 1 or 2 babies will survive. Mammals, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. If parents are not emotionally connected to the babies, no one would survive. That's how empathy got selected with mirror neurons, and that's how empathy got selected. So the traditional evolutionary past, our ancestors were going around in groups of 100, 150 people. Philosophy, religion put people together as large teams. All successful societies, at some level, they feel as one big team. Israelis also feel as one big team, irrespective of their. So that is also one of the prerequisite for fast growth and development. But I also want to go back to your point of taking care of everyone. Actually, there are so many examples now. We don't have to go with the US model. See, in America, if you look at it, two of the most misused terms are freedom and what is it? One is freedom. The other word just lost my mind. But these are free market. These are misused terms. There is nothing like a free market because corporations are so much dependent on institutional arrangements enforced by the government. You tell me a situation corporations flourish when institutional arrangements are not enforced by the government. So this most misused two words are free market and freedom. And I think there is always a way of growth by taking everybody with us. So I think that's a new model. We don't have to do a cut and paste model from anywhere. But Americans would really like everybody to follow their kind of, heartless, unempathetic capitalism. I think there is a compassionate competition is always possible. There is always, see, even in India, we talk about innovation, but we really lack policy innovation. What did we take till 2020 for the NEP document of this flexibility to come out? We are quite behind with policy innovation. We might innovate technologically, scientifically. Policy innovation is the most, is one we need to pay a lot more attention, and we need to constantly innovate in policy. Then we can take care of everyone. See, economists always told everybody that if you go with increasing minimum wages, it is going to be a problem. Seattle City in the US, they increase minimum wages. It has actually helped because a lot more money available to spend. Those are the ones they will quickly spend. Not when you give a tax break for billionaires, they'll do something else, right? Or they'll go to some other place and invest. But when your minimum wage increased, so it was totally against those Milton Friedman kind of economist prediction. So, it's about, what you want. It is a purposeful, compassionate design of your systems.
Any other questions? Okay, I got excited by your point. Feeling of one large team, the statement which you made. When you're talking about economy is an interrelated system. When you're talking about development and performance, core, you may like it or not, you are not an economist. For us, it is much more of creating the cake.
Yes.
Cake is important. Without cake, there's no point in talking too much about distribution.
Yes.
But Kerala has done it. We may with a small cake, we have done it very beautifully. Now, when you consider economy as an interrelated system with components, its performance quintessentially is contingent on how the actors integratively perform, like an orchestra. In an orchestra, different members should be working under a total leadership. Otherwise, there's no song. There's no performance. That is economy. Economy wants what is called your feeling of one large system working. But unfortunately, the real world that we are living in is not one of economy. What actually we are having is political economy. When we go and make a recommendation to our minister, he will naturally think that is politically feasible. Economically may be wonderful, but politically is it feasible? But when you are met with the real world of political economy, it has got two components. One is economy, which wants the system to be working as a team and in an integrative manner. On the other hand, politics is nothing but pure division.
You have got ruling party, you have opposition party. Ruling party's job is to get something done. Opposition party is measured on the basis of how strongly you oppose. Whether it is good or bad for the people, unless you oppose, then you have no job. You are rewarded for opposing. So what actually happens is that me as an individual, I have my two powers. One is my economic power, or is my political power. My economic power is by way of my taxes, and my political power is by way of my voting. For the very fact that the party that I voted got one seat less than the other one, my complete political power is gone, waste, and my economic power is also waste. But if in an innovative world where really you want development to happen, what one needs is that our constitution only says what? The leader of the majority party forms the government. It doesn't say that, okay, he takes his ministers from his own party. He can take anyone. Only thing is he has to contest. So I would like to see a new democratic organization where really understanding, if you are truly concerned about the development of the state, you should articulate a new political system wherein the ruling party leads the government. At the same time, according to certain proportion, you divide the economic power, the budget, also with the opposition. And then they are made to compete, not by opposing, by performing. So they also work for the people. If they are socially committed, they are all working for the people. Actually, by sitting in the opposition, they actually oppose, actually. Even if, they are paid to oppose. So I would like to say that this particular thing, the feeling of a one large team needs significant governance innovation by way of articulating democracy in a modern world. What should be the democracy in a modern world?
Actually, this is a very, very important point. So people are thinking across the world, the US kind of democracy is the ultimate way of two-party system. Now, it has become clear that the European kind of maybe 10 parties having little, no one has a real majority. And many parties, they are actually functioning almost like what you're telling. People would argue that because there are so many parties, for example, if you look at the Netherlands, they have now 4 or 5 parties. They also have some extreme right-wing parties, but no one is able to take or hijack the political system to a Trumpian kind of place because of many parties. So they will have to always make government based on this permutation combination. So there is a good, interesting balance that is happening, but they would argue that that is inefficient. But this two-party system, if you actually quantify the inefficiency, is even sometimes more, because I want to do this, opposition wants to oppose. So this permutation combination, they also change these permutation combination every few years within the time, because something they did not like, so they come out, somebody else go in the government. So in some sense, some degree it is happening, because we thought that the US kind of democracy is the ultimate. Now we have a big question mark, and we are still figuring that out.
I was thinking one has to think for the new world. Unfortunately, these are all evolved in altogether different contexts. Now we have to think of it. If you are thinking mind, then think of something new. Otherwise,
yes.
Okay, please.
Sir, thank you for the very beautiful presentation. It's very exciting. Actually, I like your statement that how do I know what I know is right? Please explain which way I would know what I know is right from your point of view.
Yeah.
The first one is that.
Yeah.
Second thing is, as far as Kerala is concerned, the major challenge is unemployment, especially educated unemployment. From this 10% growth rate, in which way we will address that thing is a major challenge, especially in the sectoral factors, because whether our growth is mainly on service sector, not in the industry way. That way, a more employment generation is a difficult thing for Kerala. That is another challenge. And the third thing is, you mentioned about the Kerala Global Angel Fund for formation. Who will take the initiative from this federal structure? whether the state government is able to do that because of this, debt restrictions and so many, fiscal restrictions are there. Whether it is possible or who will take the initiative. And see, these are the things are very important. And another thing regarding, you mentioned about the spiritual influence of old Indian, but the caste and religion, these things are, making lot of hindrances to our development. Which way we address that thing also? And this global freedom or America and all, there are many different types of freedoms are there. But in Kerala, even though we are free in many terms, this inherent caste, religion, restrictions, making people, keeping away from many entrepreneurship or many things. So these are the concerns I have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to start with the last one because as an older man, it is easy to remember the last one. My voice is not at all. Yeah. Caste system, I personally consider it as one of the worst evils of humanity. It is one of the most evil thing we can think of, caste system. So at every stage, we will have to address it in so many different ways. We can address it only if we address it not politically, because politically, if we address it, suddenly interest becomes electoral politics, not about really doing the right thing for people. So for me, when I talk about feeling a large team as a one single large team, also means that, see, that was the advantage of China. 90+% of people are Han Chinese. So they don't have this caste system. So, how do we address caste system much, more learned philosophers and sociologists and anthropologists have talked about it. So I was talking with sir. We need champions at every level. But if we use caste and talking about caste as part of my party's electoral politics, whichever party it is, I think I'm not going to do any good for the people who suffer from caste system. If you ask me how do I do it differently, I don't know, because I want to be humble. So now, going back to your first question was about how do we know what we know is right? You see, there are only very, very few things that I would consider easily right and wrong. Without any provocation, you don't kill people, you don't abuse a child, you don't rape a woman. All those 3, 4, 5 things are absolutely, you can decide this is right or wrong. That's almost unequivocal. People could argue, but practically actionable. But everything else, you need to start with a pinch of humility. That is the starting point. Next point is, you need to ask a lot more clarifying questions before you come to any conclusion. The beautiful thing about asking the clarifying question is, it is like a solid sphere. If you're standing here, if I'm standing here, this is the distance between us. If we go deeper and deeper and deeper, what happens to our distance? It becomes, so going deeper and deeper and going to the core, then we are at the same place. That is the process of asking clarifying questions. It is really not about you are right or you are wrong. It is about what is the overlap. How much of what you think and how much of other person thinks are more similar than different. So that is the point. It is really, very rarely we need to think about right and wrong. But unfortunately, the Western education is all about right and wrong. You look at it. Europe was fighting all these wars because they were fighting against the good, was fighting against evil. Every European war is like that. Even what Ukrainians are telling and Russians are telling is also, it is all framing as good and evil, good and evil, good and evil. I think old Indian philosophy is wisdom and ignorance. It's a totally different framing. We can forget about it and complain about it and adopt the European framework and good and evil, we'll get in the same problem. He also asked two more in between. Yeah. Yeah. You see, I personally don't think the state center issue should be it can make it slightly difficult, but we need champions. See, at every organization, at my level, I'm the vice chancellor. I have executive council and a chancellor and president of the trust and everything. At every level, we need to constantly go and champion. And you know what is our natural approach to solving any problem? By blaming the other person. Yeah, I think finished. As soon as you blame the other person's fight or flight mechanism kicks in. Now it is about, I will show him this will not work. So you could be total enemies and two different parties. You should be able to go there and smile and start to say, I was talking with one of the Punjab ministers. He's from the Badal family, Manpreet Singh Badal. He was the Manpreet Singh Badal. You know, he's a good friend of mine. And I was asking him, he said, even when Punjab was ruled by a totally opposite party, not Congress, but still they could go there and get things done. But they're not going there blaming, and they'll go there and have tea and start working on it. But the problem is, if that difference, if we use too much in our electoral politics, that's a problem. See, it is, you know, if you are okay to not win, you will never lose. So that is our politicians will never understand because they have no existence. So we need to get to that level. See, that's why, you see, please remember, with our current mindset, we will not get there. Only by economics and data analysis, we will not get there. So that's why I wanted to focus on anything other than data. As an engineer, I like numbers a lot, but I didn't want to use any numbers because there is also a way of seeing the world without numbers. One more point you had.
What kind of a versus a service-dominated economy and
There we need to seriously rethink education. You know what is the biggest challenge of rethinking education? I have a question to all of you. You're all going to get PhDs. The question is, you know, our regulators are telling for high quality teaching and learning in class, a student-teacher ratio of 1:15 is important. Actually, my university, our student-teacher ratio is 1:20. Actually, achieving a smaller student-teacher ratio is decreasing learning quality, not enhancing. You know why?
Teacher dominated.
Not teacher dominated. Not teacher dominance is not what is decreasing. What is decreasing learning quality is, imagine I have sir, and he's a great teacher. I have 30 students. Okay, very happy. He can handle 30 students. Everything is going well. But my regulator is telling, no. You need one more person. And regulator is not only telling me, telling all 1,200 universities. Everybody is looking for another economics teacher. Not that many high quality PhDs are produced in India. Somehow for accreditation reasons, I will go and hire someone. Now that person is hired. These 30 students were very happy to receive lessons from him. Now they are also receiving half the lessons from a person quite inferior to sir. So that's how this forceful enforcement of, and this is, it is never discussed because now I sit in all faculty interviews, average quality of, whether it is engineering, science or social sciences, average quality of PhDs coming in because everybody is aggressively, desperately looking for. So back to your question, we need to completely reimagine what do we teach, how do we teach. If we imagine our graduates are somehow writing the exam and somehow coming out, no, we need to start with how do we train our faculty. And also, we don't have to teach them these many credit hours. Why should there be a 40 credit and a 3-year degree is 120? Not needed. I think 30 is more than enough. 40 credit, 15 hours per week of study is more than enough. And that pedagogy should change. And for all those, we need a better generation of teachers. For producing better generation of teachers, our traditional B.Ed and those kind of education is not good. So it is so easy to say we have these graduates and they are unemployed. No, we have some kind of graduates. They are not well educated, but they are certified in something, but they don't know what they are certified in. So all those things need a complete different way of looking at it. It's a long journey. As Sir was telling, this journey is always hindered by electoral politics, whichever party it is. One thing I'm convinced about: if a true democracy to work, everyone should change their political orientation as often as possible. Otherwise, how will democracy work? If our political orientation is fixed, we don't need elections, right? You need to go and tell, okay, I'm this for the next 50 years. So take my vote for this one. No. So if a good democracy to work, we need to change our political orientation continuously. We cannot have that kind of, that party is very bad, or this party is good, or this party is violent, that party is, no. I think we're all Indians. All parties have their own strengths and limitations. And we need to try all sorts of parties. And, anybody says that, oh, my father was this party, I'm this, or, I think then, sorry, that's right.
Party also change.
Huh?
Party also change.
Party
See, any party, yeah. I think recently someone came to my, this is without not recording. Somebody coming to my home and said, someone could not imagine Deshabhumani being subscribed in a Christian family. I said that party has changed, Christianity also changed. Christians also change, party also change. It's a co-evolutionary process. So, any other interventions about Kerala's students? What do you think about the teaching? What do you think about not teaching, learning? Is there any learning happening or only teaching happening? Universities are actually teaching place, not learning place. That's the problem. And learning, anyway, I think that's a separate, I personally believe that if anyone, sincerely speaking, with my comment, if anyone has failed Kerala society, or for that matter, India, the highest responsibility is for we, the teachers. We are the teachers. And we are responsible, and almost 59-60% of the total revenue expenditure goes for teachers. And what they teach and what they preach and what they train are the next generation. And we who collectively fail the society. What is happening in the economics classrooms? Any relevant economics is taught. Any relevant economics is taught. Every student going to the economics classroom has a very heavy economic textbook of the poverty of her family, prosperity of her neighbor, difficulty of her father in paying the fees for her, huge economics. And what she has seen on the road, 5 kilograms of banana for 100 rupees. What is the economics of that? Economics teachers are least bothered about it. And that is economics. Then we are teaching economics. When they come out these things, that is none of their concern. And if these are not getting into the economics classrooms, or for that matter, we have got panchayats having accounts. And I don't want to quote the name, the head of our local fund audit person says that, sir, we don't know what the hell am I auditing? And we have got thousands and hundred thousands of commerce graduates coming in the colleges. How many of the village panchayats are having nice annual reports? We have got excellent economics teachers, professors. Can a professor converse with a panchayat member, forget about minister? So this is, I think we have to, I mean, I don't know how to do it. I'm saying that okay, we need to start somewhere. We need to start somewhere teaching real any subject. I mean, when I was talking in engineering college professor, sir, we are also mugging up. We are all masters of mugging up. I was a first time holder in mugging up. Kotsianis was by heart for me. Shapra was Akile was by heart for me. So I don't think that, I mean, after that, whatever it is, what I'm trying to say that this has to change. This learning has to change. I don't know how, when will it change. That's that. I mean, I think Vice Chancellor, oh, sorry, I'm talking. That's right. And yesterday I was telling that long time back, I was organizing a national rubber policy consultation. I wanted a representative from a university which is situated in the heartland of rubber cultivation. We could not get one. Kiran knows about it. And to the best of my knowledge, 2011 onwards, rubber sector was under deep crisis. And the first discussion about rubber sector happened in that university in 2022. It took almost more than a decade for the university to realize that something is happening, which they need to they need to discuss. 12 years it took. And that is the kind of the disconnect between the reality and the university. And if a university doesn't have questions, forget about answers. If a university doesn't have questions about the social, economic, natural, scientific issues pertaining to that region, questions and some answers, then there is no point in that university. And that is, and how many of the universities can say that we have something to say about, something to say, maybe right or wrong, that's a different issue altogether. Do you have something to say? If on rubber policy there nothing to contribute, what is the use of that university there? And that, I mean, this is something, I don't know why, when will we get realized to these kind of realities? And Kerala, I think, I think we are, I think one thing is that we are ambitious. Kerala is actually thinking about, that's something which, Nava Kerala, the whole kind of initiatives which are happening, and the people are actually made alert to it. That is something wonderful. And
I also want to tell you, in Kerala, there is a tendency to make fun of UP. But if you go back to UP, it is changing so fast. So I think you should go and see. It's changing so fast in a positive way. So it is better not to declare victory and go home. Keep working so that you can keep making fun of other states. But if you think that we won, then you're going to be in trouble.
No, actually, that is what Punjab also. We both were heroes.
Yes.
Now our recorded growth rate of Kerala during past year is just half of what Tamil Nadu recorded. And we always look at Tamil Nadu people with a lot of contempt that they can't do anything, but they are performing so well. And why we are not able to do? Why we are not able to do? We have to be very self-critical. We have to be very self-critical.
So, at least as a concluding remark, I want to, because you asked about what vice chancellors do. You see, if you ask me, finding well-trained, motivated faculty is a major problem. We need a totally different generation of. Then you could challenge me by telling Professor, you said that there are no major problems; it's also minor problems. So for me, this could also be solved through making so many minor changes. Because my executive council and the chancellor and the people above me, they want to hire young faculty from top NIR of 50 institutes. Okay. And with already 3 publications. This is totally counterproductive. Because all the smart people from IITs and others will quickly join some other place because they know that if I pick the best one, he or she will come in and publish. I don't have to wait for them to get the ones who are not finding any job. Finally, with the time, will get 3 publications and finally we hire. So this big problem can be solved by making a small change in the recruitment policy. That is where you need champions. I will have to champion that cause and force for it, fight for it, argue for it, cry, touch other people's feet. So every big problem you can address in so many different ways. It's all about solving little problems. But as a state, we need to really decide that we are going to develop and train a completely different group of faculty members. I think that's very important. Then you have different kinds of graduates. Then you will see that those graduates are not going to be unemployed. See, a very, very simple thing. Of course, my university is a good university, but I've never found anybody unemployed. That's good. That's good. Yeah, we graduate 3,000 some every year. It is not that not even 1% is unemployed. If I look at in 6 months, 1 year, not even 1% is unemployed. No, campus, they depending on the year, anywhere from say 75 to 90% campus placement. Even if it is not campus placement, everybody will find because they're reasonably well.
They have the
Yeah.
connections, they have links, they
Yeah,
have to it, they are into it.
generally well trained, they will do. So as soon as you know, we are generally talking about oh, so many graduates are there and they're certified for what, I don't know. So anyway, I think
I think it shall be concluded. I think we have a coordinator, he has the,
yeah.
he's officially designated with that job.
Oh,
He's
okay, very good.
specialist in banking.
Oh, okay.
Not so much, but I'll try to do my best.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of GIFT community, I would like to place on record our sincere appreciation and thank you for accepting our invitation to be with us today and for delivering such an insightful lecture. Usually this is a room where we see a lot of numbers on the slides, but you showed us that without even a single number,
Only page number.
you could really motivate us and stimulate our thinking process. Thank you so much for your enlightening lecture once again. And I also take this occasion to thank you for your support for the conference. Because of your support, our conference was a flying success this year. We would have really liked to have you there, but for reasons beyond your control, maybe you could not join us. But in future, we would like to have your continued support, and we hope GIFT will continue to have a collaboration with Thapar University. Thank you once again, sir. And I would like to thank Professor Pushpangadan for joining this event today. And we would like to see you more often here, sir, and coming and participating in GIFT events. And I would like to thank the director, Professor Joseph, without whom the events like this would not have been possible. Thank you for always bringing people from different perspectives so that we don't constrain our thinking process to a specific domain. And I would like to thank all my colleagues, students, and finally, I would like to thank the support staff of Seminar Committee, especially the IT staff, for arranging this event so seamlessly. Yeah, online participants are also our students and colleagues, so there's no need of a specific thanks for them, but thank you one and all. We will meet once again on Monday. Now we'll break for lunch.
Thank you very much.
It's really indeed
Highly promoted.